knitters and crafters. I'm Helen of Curious Handmade, and I have just escaped to our garden from the house to record a little intro to my staycation vlog style video this week. And I just needed to get outside because there's a lot going on inside with people in lockdown and homeschooling and all that sort of thing. So I came out here to have a little chat with you, and Cindy's with me here, enjoying a little bit of peace and quiet as well. And you pop up. So back in June, I think it was, when quite a lot of my travel plans had been cancelled thanks to Victoria and New South Wales being locked down, and then a quick lockdown in Queensland, making us unwelcome in Victoria. And it's just been like, I don't know, some kind of bad tennis game of COVID being passed around between the states and various lockdowns. So at that time I had a couple of trips booked to go down to Victoria for Bendigo, Wool Festival, and then we were going down to Sydney to see Hamilton on the school holidays, and that got cancelled as well. And my sister and I were talking and decided to just book basically a staycation, to book a little beach house not too far from where we live and just escape for a few days. So when we were looking at places to book, we were laughing at ourselves because our search criteria was mainly to have a big dining table suitable for setting up our sewing machines and doing lots of crafting, as well as lots of natural light. We also really fancied a lovely outlook as well, looking out at nature of some sort. It didn't really matter whether it was beach or mountains or greenery, but we just wanted to be able to look out onto something fairly inspiring. But the biggest criteria was a big table, and so that was actually quite hard to find in a beach house. Not surprisingly, but I think pools and access to the beach were much higher up most people's lists of requirements for a getaway like that. But in the end, we were able to find the perfect place, and had a couple of weeks to look forward to getting away. And in the end, our mum, my mum, was able to join us for a few days as well, which was just so lovely. When I was first thinking about what projects to take with me, I was thinking I would take quite a few design projects and get lots of design work done, have some nice, creative, uninterrupted time to do some work, because I've booked a photo shoot again in September, and I thought I would be able to get quite a bit prepared for that. And then when it got closer to the time, I just completely changed my mind and decided that it would be silly not to take the opportunity to take a really nice holiday and a complete break from work. And then I started thinking about what I would really love to work on the most, and I decided that I would try and focus on my houses quilt. This is a project I've been working on since early last year. It's called Houses, and the pattern is a quilting pattern by Jenny B, and she has a blog. I think it's called Made in Colour, something like that. I'll put the details in the description. So I had made some progress on that earlier on in the year, and just thought that it would be so nice to complete that project. And I thought maybe I could even get as far as the quilting and putting on the binding and actually completing the whole thing. So I'll wait till the end to give you a little update on that. I had also talked about maybe sewing some clothes on my audio podcast before I went away. That didn't end up happening, but I did start another quilt project that I wasn't really expecting to make any progress on. And this was a project that is actually possibly going to be my first quilt design. I had put together a pattern a little while ago and had some fabric and a little idea to make this particular quilt as a gift for a special person. And so in the end, in the last couple of days of being away, I made huge progress on this project, and mostly because my mum came and helped me, and we worked on it quite intensely for the last few days of the holiday together. The little beach house we stayed at was really close to a beautiful beach called Castaways Beach, and it was just such a lovely beach. It's a dog-friendly beach and very basically deserted, and you definitely felt like being a castaway walking along there. And so I did lots and lots of walks. There was a coffee shop about 2 kilometers away up the beach. So my sister and I ended up doing some lovely morning walks with a coffee at the end for a reward. And yeah, we got lots of steps in and quite a bit of unexpected exercise too, which was a lovely bonus, and made the week feel quite healthy. So join me for a little bit of footage from our time away. Coming along with us for our little beach staycation, and I thought the cottage we stayed at was absolutely perfect for a week of sewing and crafting and lots of relaxing. I got to watch lots of the Olympics, which was a bit of a surprise. I wasn't expecting to get so involved in watching the games. And I thought it was just so wonderful that they could go ahead after so much uncertainty for such a long time. And you could really see how much it meant to the athletes and their families to be able to participate finally. It must have just been such a uncertain year that they've had. And yeah, I kind of expected it to be cancelled at the last minute. So I was so pleased for them that it could go ahead. And it was definitely inspiring to watch. For my projects, I was so pleased to finish the top of my houses quilt. I got to what I thought was the end of the blocks I had pre-made up and realized that I still intended to put another row of houses at the top in my plan. And so I spent another day cutting out those extra blocks and sewing the extra row on. And then once I'd done that, I realized that it was a bit bigger than would be possible for me to quilt myself on my machine. So I contacted a long arm quilter that I know, and she said that she'd be able to quilt it for me. So I was really pleased about that, and I could then call that completed as far as I was going to do. So that's really exciting because that's one of my happiness projects for the year, and some fabric that I've had in my stash for 10 years. I was given the fabric by my girlfriends in London for my 40th birthday, so that's quite a long time ago. So I am so happy to have almost finished that project and finished it as far as my input goes for the time being. So then, with a few days of the holiday to go, I decided to tackle another quilt project that I had with me, and this was a quilt that I had designed a little while ago and bought the fabric for. It's a special quilt for a gift, and I had designed it with the recipient in mind. My mum had come to join us by that point, so we did a solid 2 days working about 10 hours a day on that quilt and almost finished it before we had to go home. We just have a couple of strips to add to it now, and I'm hoping to finish that in the next few days. So that was incredibly exciting to do a whole second quilt that I wasn't expecting to get onto. Apart from all that quilting, I did quite a bit of knitting on my rewilding pullover that I'm knitting in the Fibre Company Law yarn. And while that was technically design work, I'm not really counting it as work because it was a lot of stockinette knitting in the round that I was doing while I was watching the Olympics. So it certainly didn't take any brain power or much concentration, so I'm not really counting that one as work. My sister Susan also made some great progress on her projects. She finished 2 quilts that she had in progress and managed to get the binding on those, and she also started working on a 3rd quilt in really gorgeous Heather Ross fabric from her Lightning Bug range, which is such a cute fabric collection. So that was fun to see her putting that together as well. So now it's back to reality, but with a very refreshed body and soul, and I'm really looking forward to getting into some more crafting, and am excited about some new knitting and quilting projects, and I'm just feeling so refreshed and happy to have had that time away. So I would love to know what you're working on at the moment, what craft projects you have happening. So leave me a message in the comments to let me know. Happy knitting. I'll talk to you soon.